hello. Welcome into Gamesthetic, episode 115, final episode of 2022. It is December 31st. We're going to end the year in beautiful fashion with ranking our top 10 games of this previous year. This year had a lot of great games come out, and we're going to be ranking them. We sat down, we made a nice little list. Spoiler alert, Elden Ring is not on that list because none of us played it. Maybe one day one of us will play the game. It'd probably be me out of everyone here. I would probably be the one to play it, but yes, Elden Ring did not make this list, so you can probably guess what's at the top. But anyway, I got the boys here with me to break down this list. Zach and John, how we feeling?
I'm doing good. Actually, sort of okay with doing this. Sort of. Maybe.
Okay with doing a list for once.
No, actually, no, I don't think I am.
He's never okay with doing a list. He hates lists. Other than that, how are you feeling? How's it going?
It's going good. Can't complain. We're here.
Yeah.
Again.
Every week.
No, not every week.
Every week.
Not every week.
Pretty much every week.
No, there you go.
John, how are you?
For the most part, I'm doing okay until you were asking if we had looked at the list yet, and I looked at it, and then it was really bugging me that it goes from 1 to 10 instead of 10 to 1.
That is true. I didn't organize it the other way. I normally do it the other way. My bad. My bad.
Oh man, that's gonna throw me off.
I'm sorry. I do normally organize it the other way.
You do?
Yeah, I normally do. Yeah. Because I go with the script just completely in order so you can just scroll down the whole thing.
I've never fucking noticed.
Yeah, I usually do it the way that he said. That's my fault. But either way, final episode of the year. Tomorrow will be our year-end video coming out. Looking forward to that one being released. A lot of information coming across the board for every show and the brand especially. A lot of stuff in that video. So if you could, make sure to check that out. We'd appreciate it. As well as dropping a like on this live stream, subscribing to the channel, be a friend, tell a friend. Check out our Agent Ink store. Link down in the description below, as well as check out some Rogue Energy. Join the Discord. Everything that's down in the description below. We would definitely appreciate. There's a lot of cool stuff coming in 2023. I'm very excited for 2023. Just going through that video that I went through today and, doing the editing process and just really continuing to set on everything that's like, all right, yeah, this is all of the goals that we have for the year. I genuinely feel like every goal that I had set up, like I think we can crush every goal, especially when you look at what we accomplished in 2022 across the board. Across the board, 2022 was absolutely an insane year for us. There was so much that we accomplished. I don't know what's happening between them. Gonna leave that one alone. But yeah, 2022 was awesome. So, and I break down that in tomorrow's video as well. So I would definitely appreciate checking out that video. Go ahead and start turning down the music now. So for today's episode, like I said, top 10 games of 2022. We got some honorable mentions as well. And then once we're wrapped up with those top 10 games, we will just kind of chat about a couple other things that we've been up to. John picked back up New World recently, so he can chat about that if he wants. I picked up Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey, very randomly. I've had my eye on this game for a while, and just out of the blue, I finally bought it when it was on sale. I'm going to chat about it because I'm having a really, really fun time. And then various things in the weekly wrap-up. So, but boys, how we feeling? We ready to jump into stuff? You got anything you want to shout out real quick before we get into the list?
I'm just going to say leading off, I'm going to apologize from the start. I'll be coughing this whole way through it for the most part.
No, me too. I had the flu recently, and all I got left is this damn cough.
Yeah, mine's mostly gone.
Yeah.
But it's still sticking around.
Dude, I feel you. Like if you get me to laughing, it's just going to be like half a second of laugh, and then the rest is just me violently coughing. So it's gonna be a time, because that's how it was with ATFS. Anytime I would laugh, it would just be, you'd just see me immediately just start just dying over to the side, trying not to just completely suffocate over here. But no, I feel you. It's gonna, me and John both just gonna be coughing throughout this episode. But anyway, Zach, you got anything you want to shout out before we get started? Go through this wonderful top 10 list.
I got a hold of a Genesis and a Dreamcast.
Oh, nice.
Now I just got to find fucking chords for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, so you got a Dreamcast that you can use your keyboard for.
Yes. And it also has one of the weird-ass Dreamcast accessories. I don't remember which one, but I got a hold of it and looked at it and went, well, this is Dreamcast eccentric.
What is it? What's it for?
I honestly can't remember because I literally looked at it and went, oh, Dreamcast accessory. I'm never going to fucking use this.
How'd you get a Dreamcast and don't have the cables for it?
That's actually a good question.
So my brother-in-law, apparently, I mentioned at some point that I was going to get a hold of him at some point, and he had both a Dreamcast and a Genesis, and has everything for the Genesis, controllers, a game, the cords for it. But for the Dreamcast, he only had the controllers, a memory card, and the console. But none of the cords.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I don't think I have a spare set.
It's a start.
Yeah. I mean, I have a idea of where I can get a hold of the cords for the Dreamcast. It's just going to be a slight hunt down.
Yeah.
I may end up just having to buy a Dreamcast anyways.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, at least you got one though.
Yeah.
You can pair with your keyboard.
Yeah, I can play,
Shout out to the
Typing in the Dead.
Shout out to the Dreamcast officially licensed keyboard that he has. He showed that off on a previous episode.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one, but yeah, shout out to that though. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the list. So we'll kick things. Yeah, I gotta say, I actually really like this list. So the way that we built it is that each of us,
Disclaimer, which we still haven't. It's our top 10.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is our top 10 list,
Yes.
which is
Several of
why-
these games you're not going to see on anyone else's top 10.
That's not true. That's not true. Some of these I've actually seen a couple of them, especially what we're leading off with 10. But no, this is our top 10. And when it came to building this list, I'm actually a big fan of this list because like the way we did it is that each of us locked in one game for sure. Each of us had one pick that was going to be on this list. And then after that, we just kind of compiled a list of our favorite games and just kind of went from there of what we believed should 100% be on here. And this is ranked. You know, we've done previous lists before where it was just a list to be a list, you know,
Yeah.
like our 50 games that you need to play. That was just a list to be a list. But this is actually ranked similar to when we did the consoles. So I am actually a fan of this list because it's got some, you know, notable like AAA titles, but it also has a lot of more unique titles on the list, including what's leading off with number 10.
We will also be the only top 10 list that you mentioned earlier that will not feature Elden Ring.
That is true. Which, shout out, I just saw before we started that Elden Ring has now passed over 200 Game of the Year awards.
Or Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Also true. We did not play that one either. Just, it's not our thing.
You think one of us will ever play Xenoblade?
I have played a little bit of
I feel like
Xenoblade
John would be the
Chronicles
best bet.
Definitive Edition, and I've played a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
You know what's funny? I never touched either of those, but I almost bought a prequel series, Xenogears, on the PlayStation 1.
I will say, to my understanding, you could actually play Xenoblade 3 and be fine. You don't need to play 1 or 2.
From
So-
my understanding, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like out of everyone here, you would be the most likely one to play Xenoblade, especially considering like not only do you not have to have the knowledge of 1 and 2, it is helpful, but you don't have to. Apparently, like just 3 is just like so much better gameplay wise than the other two. I didn't know this, but apparently 2 was a disaster when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
See, I didn't know that, but I feel like you would be the one to play Xenoblade.
2 was also up in arms because on the Western release, they didn't have the friggin' boob slider that people were mad about.
Steve put something in the chat. He said, Zach, check out Discord in game chat. I got you, BB. Apparently, he posted something for you. Let's see what it is. Is it Dreamcast
Is it
related?
going to be toxic?
Is it Dreamcast related, I guess? It is Dreamcast related. There you go.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there you go. But,
There's the AV cable now. I just need the power cable.
yeah, hey, it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, shout out to Steve in chat. But yeah, no Xenoblade on this list. No Splatoon 3. And I have played it. I just didn't think it would make the list, though. That was my personal opinion. And then, of course, no Elden Ring.
And no Battle League.
Yeah, no, Jesus Christ. So, you know, one thing that we toyed with when we were making this list is doing like a wider version of this idea where it's like our own Game Awards thing. I will say that's going to happen eventually. You know what I mean? If it's not like the end of 2023, another year, it will happen eventually where we will basically do our own Game Awards. And if we were going to do it this year, one of the rankings that I was going to throw out there was like top 5 biggest disappointments. Battle League was going to be probably number 1.
Alex.
Up front.
So the problem with that this year was when we started compiling our list,
Yep.
we didn't play a ton of games this year.
Yeah, looking back on it.
We don't have a production budget.
I know, but we can make it work. We have a nice studio that we can make something work with. We'll
Sniper
figure it.
shot.
Yeah,
I can hold a card up.
yeah. See, John's got us. So maybe this year we'll actually do like our own version of a Game Awards where we do more than just the top 10. Top 10 games is here to stay. That's gonna be every year.
I mean, this will probably be the better year because we're already getting games coming in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this year already has more games that we're all excited about than this past year did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This past year had like a handful of games.
Yeah.
This one already had we have a handful of games in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I was about to say, because like next week alone, there's a game releasing on the 6th that I forgot about that I was slightly interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And then a week from that, One Piece Odyssey and
True.
friggin' Fire Emblem.
Yeah. Fire Emblem's right in 20 days. So
Yep.
really excited for that. And that was actually one thing I chat about in that year-end video, and I'll go ahead and chat about it now, that this year, out of like all 3 of our shows, right, I feel like this year, Gamestetic could potentially have the biggest year because of how many games is coming out that we're going to plan to play. And one thing that I plan to do is get back to just like the clips that we used to do, but specifically for game reviews. So our game reviews are better archived. You know what I mean? So you can easily go and check out X review of X game very easily, because that's one thing that we just got away from. And it's something I want to get back on track with this year. So this year could be a huge year for this show, and it's really exciting. We're going to chat about that next week, though. Next week, we're going to look at all the games coming out for this upcoming year, kind of give our most anticipated and stuff like that, plus whatever else kind of comes out we want to chat about. But anyway, let's get into the list. Kicking things off with number 10.
That's you, Zach.
I mean, yeah, but it's more entertaining this way.
I know. If you're listening in the audio format, I'm sorry. You should know by now.
So number 10 we have as Dust Falls, which was I can't remember the studio, but more or less it was an Xbox Game Studios thing. Was on Game Pass. It's still on Game Pass if you want to go play it. And it is a narrative-driven choose-your-own-adventure game. It's a very unique art style and very interesting story, and just an insanely branching story at that. Like, there is a lot of branches based in the game to really change up the story. Characters are interesting in it. The dialogue is actually very well done. The choices and everything. And the real big kicker for me, it's why I push for this one to be at 10, is that it actually has 2 parts. It has the first half of the story involving the whole incident and everything with our characters. Then it actually skips like a decade after those events. So all of your choice you made during that first half, regardless of all the effects they had during the first half, you didn't get to see all the other aftermath effects, branching butterfly effect stuff 10 years later, and play through another second part following characters from the first part, plus a couple other ones who grown up in that decade of time and what they experienced based on how things went.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, just fantastically narrative game. I suggest anyone who has Game Pass to pick it up and try it. It's an easy, you can fully do a single playthrough in either a day or 2 sessions, depending on how much time you have. So
Yeah, and As Dusk Falls is in my opinion, one of those prime examples of don't knock it till you play it, because when it was revealed, there was a lot of like criticism about the game with how the art style approach.
I was actually okay with it because I like the unique art style.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't think it's bad, but that was a lot of complaints at the Xbox showcase over the summer. It's like, oh, this game just looks weird. It looks bad, but this is one of those games like don't knock it till you play it because of how strongly narrative focused it is. So shout out to As Dusk Falls making it on this list at number 10. Coming in at number 9.
Okay, so number 9 we got I don't know if this is going to be on many people's list. I haven't looked at many people's list, but we got Multiverses popping in here as probably the best platform fighter that's come out in the past few years.
Easily.
Because there's been a few of these kind of offshoot ones that come out and that people get excited over. But Multiverses is, in my opinion, has been the best one. So it's gotten, I mean, right after it came out, it was getting a lot of community support behind it.
Yeah.
Tournaments were popping up for it. It's like characters have been coming out steadily for it. And the game itself is just fantastic. I know Zach's played a lot more than I have, but even from what I've played, I mean, it was very clearly like one of the more polished, not even just like platform fighters, but fighters,
just
like
in
fighting
general.
games in general, that I was having a ton of fun with while I was playing it.
I mean, I really enjoyed it this year. As you said, it is definitely one of the better platformer fighters that came out. And just one of the big things with it, which really helped stand it out, is just every character, regardless of just them being unique and just that they're the WB licensed characters and whatnot, is they went out of the way to actually make references from online, which was a nice touch, but made each of the characters' abilities and skills and all like fill in character. Even though some of us dreaded fucking Bugs Bunny's doomsday rockets, he could just friggin' summon everywhere. And then each character they released after the initial roster was also, each felt very unique gameplay wise and made for interesting meta changes. Like Gizmo was one of the last ones I really messed with. And his whole thing is he jumps on someone's back and just sits on arrow, arrow, arrow. And just asking for support as literally as a little creature on your ally's shoulder.
Right.
And the other aspect of it is just that it was initially a main focus of 2 versus 2 platform fighter versus free for all or 1v1, which was a nice touch.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to mention as well, is the focus of the game being on 2v2 as opposed to every other fighting game that comes out, pretty much, unless it's a special case, and every single other, or pretty much every single other platform fighter is all based around free-for-all, 1v1, something of that sort. And characters being specifically designed with 2v2 in mind, with like characters more around helping their ally as opposed to just being designed to go in and fight by themselves.
Beat the crap out of everyone. And the other interesting choice that they chose was having a no shield in the game, and it's just all dodge based.
Yeah, that was the other unique aspect of it, because going into a fighting game and not having like a
shield or
block
block
function is a very interesting concept, because it kind of goes against everything that fighting games are kind of built around.
And which was sort of one of the things that attracted me because of that. It made the game and fighting more fluid and more mobile, because since you can't block and which causes you to stop, you're just always moving pretty much.
Yeah.
So overall, very good fighting platformer. If you still haven't played it, it's free.
Yeah.
On literally everything.
Yeah, and like Zach said, with it being without the block and it being a much more mobile game, it turns it into a much more aggressive game.
Yes.
So it's like, as opposed to when you get to high level of some fighting games, or even when you kind of just get out of the introductory level, they kind of slow down a bit. Multiverse is just nonstop go forward at all times.
Just balls to the wall.
Pretty much.
And when it comes to it as well, one important thing to know that, you guys already kind of touched on it, that it's one of the better platformers to come out in the last few years. Like, that's been a constant trend, is that we see these different platform fighters come out and just ultimately fail in some capacity. And, like a lot of people really wanted that Nickelodeon one to really just be an absolute hit.
Yeah.
And it has its following.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It did all right.
But, Multiverses is really like that platform fighter, especially in the sense of it being like, this whole cross, franchise thing. This is like the really the only platform fighter to really stand on its 2 feet alongside like Smash, for example.
Yes.
Because Smash obviously runs that.
And Brawlhalla.
Yeah, and Brawlhalla as well. So, anyway, coming in at number 8, we have the Mortuary Assistant. So this is one that came out over the summer, and I had picked it up, and I've never really been into horror games, and after I played this, I just went down a rabbit hole of horror games, and now there's other horror games coming out that I'm looking forward to. And this game, it's an indie game, but it is so beautifully made because of the amount of content that they put into the game, and they're still putting into the game, of just different scenarios that can happen while playing. So the general vibe of the game is that you are working in a mortuary, and you're basically trying to go through 3 different bodies and trying not to get possessed, and trying to figure out what demon is trying to possess you by various clues of, different signs will pop up around the mortuary that you can find with, sigils, seals and stuff, and then also once you kind of narrow down which of I think it's 24 demon choices that you have to kind of figure out who is the demon fuck with you for the night.
Wait, there's 24 demons in it?
Yes, because there's a catalog that you go through.
Dang, okay.
Yeah, because the dude that runs the mortuary, he's been dealing with this for like 50 plus years. So he's just like had this huge, basically directory that he has of everything that he's been through and everything that he's done and just all this research that he did. And as the signs pop up, you can piece together, okay, it's this demon. Okay, tonight it's this demon. But then after that, you need to figure out which of the 3 bodies is the body in question. Burn the body so you don't get possessed. If you fail, then you do get possessed. And there's like multiple endings to the game. There's so many different like hallucination scenarios that you can explore throughout the night that the demon will put on you, where you maybe walk down a hallway and all of a sudden now the entry room of the mortuary is now like like an old apartment. Your mother is dead on the ground from overdose, and you're basically getting flashbacks of your past. There are other scenarios of where you get like walk into like the bathroom and you get pulled into the floor and you're having now a hallucination of when your dad died. And there's just so many different things that can happen throughout the game. And one thing that's really unique about it is all these different events that take place. There are so many of them that are still so very rare, where it's like it's so cool to see it happen. Like one of my favorite ones that I've seen, and it's one of my favorites because of how cool and unique it was at the time, but it's also like, okay, while that's super cool and super creepy, you made this round very easy. You know who the body is, right? I pulled the body out, and I'm sitting there going through the first part where you're having to check for all the marks on the body, and you move the head side to side, right? And the eyes were following me. Like as I moved it, the eyes were still watching me. I'm like, okay, so I know this is the body. That's really still cool though, because it's just so freaking creepy. And there's different things that can happen with the body as well. Where it's like, all right, you finish doing this, and you turn around to go get the next thing, and you turn back around because you hear creaking, and you just see the body just start folding up in like a pretzel on the table. Like there's just so many different things that happen throughout the game that's super cool. There are multiple endings that you can figure out, as well as figure out more on like the backstory of the dude who runs the mortuary. Because the dude literally has a possessed demon down in his basement that you can go through a long roundabout way to unlock to end up getting down there. And you get to talk to him and everything. And it's just a very fascinating game. They're even making a movie out of it now, which shout out to that. That's super cool. They're adding more bodies to the game. Originally, there was only 3. Then they added, like, I think an old lady and someone else, another body was added as well. But they're continuing to put out more.
Different body types.
Different body types,
So not
yeah.
like going from like 3 nights to suddenly, now there's 8 bodies you got to go through. Good luck.
No. It's as for now, it's sticking with just the 3, but there's adding different body types to cycle through every night. And there's so many different ways to try to immediately deduct which body is the one that's possessed. Like when me and my girlfriend were playing, we'd walk in there at the start of the night to check out the bodies, and we'd strictly judge it based off name before we even pull out the body. It's like, that name is super unique, so I have a feeling that's pretty sus. You're just kind of reading through the different names, you pull out the body, and it's just like, I don't know, this body looks a little weird in the eyes. I don't know if I trust this one. There's just so many different ways that you can try to deduct to figure out which of the bodies it is. But you can easily dump a good probably 40 hours into the game, just kind of going through doing multiple nights, unlocking all the achievements and going through getting every single possible ending and outcome and everything. I for an indie game, it is very well made, especially in the horror genre. Open the horror genre to me. I'm really excited for the movie. I'm excited for more content to come out. Really enjoyed this game quite
So you're
a
going to
bit.
play Outlast Trials with me?
Yeah, I'm more likely to play it now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more likely to happen. I know John's not going to play
No.
it, but
One day, John.
one
No.
day. Anyway, coming in at number 7.
So at 7, my one choice was Citizen Sleeper, which is another. I'm honestly not sure if it was an indie studio or whatnot. I just happened to find it because, again, it's on Game Pass. Game Pass was my friend this year.
Game Pass was my demon this year.
Game Pass was a lot of people's friends and demons this year.
So Citizen Sleeper isn't your traditional action adventure and whatnot. It is strictly just a more or less move around and dialogue based game. I should take that back. It's more like text based RPGs, because there is some stuff where like different statistics or stats and whatnot you get based on things you do, money wise, characters you get involved with, things like that. But overall, it is pretty much strictly narrative based is the main thing, and just main synopsis is you're a robot that was more or less in a canister. Your production line was discontinued, but you became self-aware, and you made it to... it's been a while since the place, so I can't remember what the place is called. More or less, you end up on this more or less outland way station where there's outcasts and people who are trying to escape and whatnot ends up. And you more or less have to figure out how to survive because the company has a kill switch in you, and without certain energy and whatnot, you're just going to shut down and die. So it's more or less your bot's story of interacting with the different people and whatnot there to get this thing deactivated, get a way of life living there and do things. Because like it initially starts out with like this scrapper guy who's helping you out and gives you a job and whatnot. You help him out for a while. You get to more or less a choice to where either you study this fragment of technology you came across on this ship you're scrapping, which you know you can help you to try and figure out how you need to survive and stay alive, or you can do your job and scrap and help him out and continue that, which, depending on what you choose, either if you choose to keep doing your job, he's happy about it, helps you out, introduces you to someone else, giving you another job, or you get the information, you get a lead on what you need to do to get the kill switch out of you, and he kicks you to the curb. He's like, I do all this for you, and you're going to just do this shit to me? And it just progresses like that, meeting new characters, interacting different things, just tons of different stuff, from seeing the crime bosses to getting part of some secret investigation of the darker side to it, meeting this single father and his daughter and helping him out and her, as well as just like even a bounty hunter shows up who's here to get your ass and either take you back to this company or scrap you. So there's just, and each character is very interesting. Each one of their stories can go in different ways based on choices you make and things like that. But overall, very enjoyable, hard narrative story for anyone who enjoys narrative-based games. Highly suggested to anyone. And again, it's on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, you can go play it now.
Game Pass makes things very easy. Like I said, Game Pass is a lot of people's friend, or in John's case, people's demon.
There's just so much stuff on there.
Yeah, there is. You know, at least they do filter some things out, every once in a while. But the unfortunate part is every once in a while they'll filter out something. It's like, damn, I wish that could stay. Like I hit you up, it's like, man, they were getting rid of Dragon Quest.
Yep.
I was gonna play that eventually. And then John's just like, you got like 2 weeks. I'm just like, I'm busy.
Should have just played it, man.
I know, I should have. Now I gotta buy it at some point.
I mean,
It's pretty cheap.
It's on sale a lot too.
yeah, it's on sale a decent amount, and I mean that.
It's like a
There's not a lot of games that I say are worth it at full price, but that one's worth it at full price.
Okay, all right. Coming in at number 6, we have
Triangle Strategy.
Possibly the first game that at least all of us somewhat played.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, me and you put like 20 hours into it. That's still not bad.
I didn't put 20 into it.
You didn't put 20 into it.
I put 20 into
I
it.
dropped it a little quicker than you guys.
Okay.
I put it like 50,
Yeah, so Zach, which is so funny because John and I were the ones that were really pumped for this game.
I gave no fucks about
And
this game.
Yeah, and Zach's just like, oh yeah, I'll pick it up, whatever. I mean, 20 hours is still a decent sampling size, but Zach actually beat it though. I mean, you really
Yeah,
went
I
at it.
actually did a full playthrough.
Yeah.
This game taught me one thing for this year. I wasn't ready for strategy games yet.
How so? I missed this.
Well, it's just I was saving it for Digimon.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
he was saving it for that. But anyway,
Strategy game.
Anyway, Triangle Strategy though.
I mean, overall, it was a very enjoyable strategy game. Very much enjoyed the whole story-based choices and whatnot of the 3 paths you could take, and just how throughout the story made some different changes here and there, and was also the controller of what characters you recruited.
Yep.
And just sort of enjoyed that whole... I always enjoy games with large casts, especially strategy games. I just enjoy having large party groups and being able to in and out, because
I agree to that.
I'm one of those people. I don't usually have a full set team. I always switch people out as need be, and whatever I feel like's better. Overall, just ended up enjoying the game as a whole. In terms of combat and whatnot, it wasn't anything over the top for strategy. It was
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward, but I did enjoy just overall mechanics, how each worked, how each of the class types worked throughout the game in terms of thing. And how they used elevation in the game. I very much enjoyed for a
Yep.
strategy game. And the big kicker of it all was just, again, just all the different paths you could take, because
Yeah.
from chapter to chapter, you usually have a choice of going one place or going some or another, and it changes the story you get. Like, one of the first choices, you choose which of the other two countries to go to, and based on that, you unlock a new party member, and the other one's locked to you until you do your next playthrough. And get to experience that, and the story changes slightly based on what your characters learn and everything. And as you progress through the chapters, it just goes from 2 choices to 3 choices, and just it spider webs out, allowing for a lot of different endings. For my one playthrough I did finish, I enjoyed the ending, sorta. I was sort of mixed about it. I mean, I get where it went, but at the same time, I was like, fuck.
Right. Wish another route would have happened.
Yeah. And yeah, then the new game plus is very nice. It's literally just like, all right, you got all that stuff. Okay, we're just gonna up everything's level, so keep going.
Basically.
And then it shows you what choices, which path you'll go based on choices as well. So everything's lit up and makes it much easier to follow a certain path if you miss certain characters. And somehow it's supposed to show you what characters you're missing from the roster, but I never got that to work.
Okay. One of my favorite things about the game was the choices. You know, I'm a big fan of games with choices, but the way they went about it, I thought was really interesting. Of where, like, you have your core cast, and
That was a nightmare.
and you essentially, from the little I did, you know, the 20 hours I did, the few times that I had to do it, but you essentially had to make a vote on what you wanted to do, and try to, depending on what you wanted to happen, you had to try to persuade others into said vote. Because, like, right when the voting process starts with the scales, you know, some characters are already kind of like set on wanting to do this. You know, you have characters that may be neutral, and then you have to try to persuade one way or the other on how you want to handle it. And then it gets even worse when you have 3 choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the beginning, it's very simple to get whatever choice you want, but as you progress and whatnot, you can very easily go down a choice that you wanted nothing to do with.
Yeah.
And just because how the game works with the new game plus, it's just like all in all, because you get different choices to help convince people based on what information you have. And at times, you can't always get the information you need to convince somebody unless you go through a different route.
Yeah.
Because all the information you have, you get to keep for the next playthrough to help you out. But because there were several choices that I didn't get to do, and which was impossible to get on a first playthrough, just because I didn't have some sort of knowledge to be able to convince a character to switch their choice.
Right.
Because there was one scales thing I did like 5 times to try and get my choice. Never happened.
Did not happen.
I was like, well, I guess I'm stuck.
I guess I'm fucking doing this even though I don't want to. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
No, triangle strategy, you know, that is obviously it's a pixel tactics game, but you know, it was received unbelievably well on Switch. And if you've got a Switch, which obviously a lot of people do, we definitely recommend picking this one up, because I think this is one of those ones that, even though I didn't complete it, I still enjoyed the 20 hours I played, and I do want to go back to it eventually. You know, I like what John just said about, you know, don't recommend a lot of games at full price. But this is a game that I personally recommend at full price if you're into tactics games.
I'm gonna be honest, it's probably on sale right now.
It probably is.
It is.
Yeah, there you go.
That was because, ironically, I was the one that was probably the most excited for the game, and I played the absolute least of it by far.
Yep.
But I think it's partially just timing of it.
Right.
It came out, and like I was looking forward to it, and just wasn't ready to play like a tactics game at that time, because I don't remember what I was coming off at that point, but I was.
That was still Lost Ark time.
Probably.
It was probably around that time, but that was just nothing got done during that time.
Yeah, it's just nothing but Lost Ark.
But yeah, it's one of those where like I haven't thought about it a lot, but I was telling these guys right before we started, I was looking through. I almost went back and started playing it a couple days ago, because I was just looking. I was really just browsing Steam, looking through games to play, and I was like, Triangle Strategy. I should actually go back and actually play the game now, because it's like I only made it like 6 or so hours in, which that game starts off a little slow. So
Yeah, it does.
So 6 hours is not that far.
No, it's not. The game does have a slow start, but once you get going, you get going. I mean, shit starts rolling.
I think that was part of my issue at the time, too, was it was kind of during the Lost Ark phase, and then I was wanting to just get in and go, and it wasn't letting me just go.
Right.
See, my favorite thing about playing Triangle Strategy, I did manage to choose the path, which is like one of the first people you fight is a bandit leader and his daughter.
Yeah,
and, and the first thing I thought whenever I got that first fight, I want them. And I managed to get on the path where I got the daughter. The old man couldn't fight because he threw his back out. I was like, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
But I got the daughter.
You got the daughter. Too bad the dude threw his back out.
Well, he decided to fight us, and we kicked his ass, and he threw his back during the fight. So,
Okay, fair enough. But even though John didn't really get a lot of time into this game and wasn't really ready for this tactics game, there
the
was
tactics
another
game he did play this year.
coming in at number 5.
Number 5 is my inclusion into this list that I was adamant. I was pretty sure it was probably going to be on the list anyway. Or
Yeah.
I was going to fight for it to be on the list anyway, but Digimon Survive is making its way in, which a lot of people weren't as excited for it because of the visual novel aspect of it.
A lot of people didn't realize they needed a visual novel this year.
I still don't understand how people didn't immediately see that once we started seeing trailers for it. It was like the first actual trailer we got for it. I went, oh, it's a visual novel. Okay. But Digimon Survive, kind of in the same way as Triangle Strategy. First few chapters of it are a little slow, but
Very slow and handholdy.
the difference between it is, like, I gravitated more towards some of the characters and the initial story that was happening a lot sooner than I did for, like, it grabbed me quicker than Triangle Strategy did. Because just a quick rundown of what's going on in the game. It is a visual novel / tactics game, where it's visual novel for 90% of it, and then 10% of it, anytime you're doing a battle or anything, it turns into kind of a tactics battle system. And the story of it is along the lines of you go on a class trip to visit, like travel around, and you're at this school and you're going to visit the shrine. Like landslides and stuff are happening, and you kind of lose track of some people. Go look for them, find your way to a shrine, and then mysteriously, you and this other group of students are in another world. And then the majority of the story from that point is trying to find your way back. And in the other world, they kind of meet Digimon partners who are all kind of friendly to them, and then you work with them to try to find your way home and to stop this evil threat that's creating like this black mist that if the mist catches up to you, it basically just takes you and you are gone.
And which I like to shout a lot this year since Digimon Survive is John became a murderer in this game.
Basically.
Okay.
Yes, Digimon and murder in the same sentence right now.
Some of the characters that died, you cannot save in the first playthrough.
No, I'm not talking about those.
He's talking about the other ones.
The other characters, some of them were a surprise. So in Digimon Survive, there's different endings to the game depending on which characters survive and which ones end up dying. And during the visual novel elements of it, you kind of explore around whatever zones you're in. You can do random battles and that. But then there's points in the game, there's points in every chapter where you kind of stop and you basically get somewhere between, I think the lowest I had was 5 and the most I had was 12 or 14 actions that you can do for the day. And the actions would be like going in, like an action would be, well, I'm going to go to this room of the school that we're in and have a conversation with this person. And by doing that, you have the chance to raise your relationship level with them, or if you pick the wrong option, lower it. And depending on your relationships with them, if they're like if you're really agreeable with them and they like you and that, then the story will have them kind of be more on your side or kind of have different decisions on it. And if your relationship isn't built up enough with some of these characters at certain points in the story, they are going to die in various forms.
Yeah, because the main thing to keep in mind with Digimon Survive is like, yeah, it's a Digimon game. You know, everyone that grew up with Digimon thinks of like a nice child game and everything, or a nice kid show, whatever. No, this game is also flirting with a horror game.
I was going to say,
up
Digimon,
front.
Digimon actually has a lot of more darker topics.
Yeah.
We just don't address it in like the early series of Digimon until season 3.
Yeah, this game goes pretty heavy
Facts.
into the dark topics of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
There were some things even that was like uncomfortable to watch almost.
yeah, there's some characters in it that, while it can be annoying to try to deal with them in the sense of the game, it's like the character's basically having a mental breakdown by the fact that suddenly they're in this other world, monsters are trying to kill them. Or it's like the first thing that happens is monsters are trying to kill them in this world, and then these other like monsters come up and try to be friendly with them, and they are not handling it well. And while other characters just kind of go with it, they're like, "Oh, hey, I got a new friend." So it's kind of trying to balance out, trying to spend your time, like trying to bring some of these characters up while also trying to reel in the other characters that are happy to just go do whatever in this new world.
Just having a good time.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like some characters will be having a mental breakdown. It goes into some kind of dark topics too.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like the later you get into it, it culminates into like basically who you and whoever of the friends you have left at the end trying to basically go against the Dark Lord of the Digimon world, who's basically been overtaking it and kind of letting the so-called evil Digimon do whatever they want and take and kill other Digimon, or go around and trying to kill anybody that shows up in the world. But and funny enough, the tactics battling part of it became much less of the worry for me as the game went on.
Mm.
Like initially I was really excited for it, but by the time I got to the end of the game, I was like, I kind of had the feeling, I'm like, there's nothing that can really stop me in these battles at the point that I'm at, or at least it felt like that until you kind of get to the end and you get some somewhat challenging battles, or at least more interesting concepts. But there's points that you hit, especially when you get to the like mega forms, where some of them are just ridiculously powerful. So it makes the battling part of it a little more trivial. But the story is what really kind of grabbed me the further and further it went into it. I much less wanted to spend time doing the actual combat battling tactics side of it, and wanted to go through the visual novel aspect of it, which was kind of the flip on the head that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, the story of the game is, especially the further you get into it, is definitely the high point.
Yeah, the little bit that I played probably like, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours of the game, and I still plan to finish it at some point. Just as a longtime Digimon fan, the story was definitely one of the higher points of the game, because like the first, like we already kind of mentioned, the first like really couple hours of the game is slow and very handholdy, and I could see where it could turn people off. But once it gets going, bro, it gets going.
Yeah,
once it puts the pedal down, it's going.
The first 3 chapters are relatively slow, but the first 3 chapters go by, they take like somewhere around an hour and a half per chapter at that point to complete.
Yeah.
And those can go by fairly slow. But it's like around that point is when it starts ramping up and the story just kind of goes. Because at that point that's when it starts really kind of jumps into okay, we're gonna be a little bit of a darker game here.
Yeah.
And then
it turns it up.
It just never. And then it's like, it has a little bit of a weird pacing thing in the middle portions of the chapters, where around chapter 4 it kind of slams on the gas and you just ride it for 3-4 chapters, and then it slows down a little bit, and you kind of hit this little bit of a lull that maybe goes on a chapter too long, and then it's right back on the gas the entire way through the end.
Yeah. It was on sale recently too. So I mean, like if you have any interest in this game, you're a Digimon fan, John highly recommended this one when we talked about Black Friday sales.
Yeah,
recently.
this was Digimon Survive. I knew it was going to be one of the highest anticipated games for me this year. It ended up being my second favorite game that I played this year.
And we'll get to his favorite game here soon.
And I haven't completed a second playthrough, but I am slowly making my way through a second playthrough.
Okay. Next up, coming in at number 4. Really no surprise that this game's going to make the list. I feel like this would be on a lot of people's list across the board. But coming in at number 4, we have Horizon Forbidden West. I mean, look, everything good about Horizon Zero Dawn, this game did better on. You know what I mean? Just the world, the atmosphere, the combat, just the story itself. Literally everything great about Zero Dawn, Forbidden West just did it better and just knocked it out of the park. The world being like in San Fran and stuff is absolutely just a blast to explore. You know, this is one of the better graphical games that I've had the opportunity to play. It actually won Best Graphics of 2022, which, I mean, is really no surprise when you see the game and see, you know, what it looks like, and just seeing like the little stuff, like even just the water looks unbelievable. The game actually has good water gameplay too, which kind of a shock. That doesn't usually tend to happen in a lot of games. Water gameplay sucks, but you know, there's an entire level that's completely focused underwater, and it was actually very creepy but very fun to play. You know, just the combat's better in every regard, and the story is just very compelling. There's a lot of aspects about the story that just really pulls you in and just makes you want to go mission to mission as quickly as possible, trying to see how everything plays out while still trying to reel yourself in. It's like, no, explore the world a bit, you know, explore the world, do the extra stuff. But there were so many things about the characters that's so engaging. The cast of characters that are around you, you have, you know, returning faces from the original game, as well as, you know, some brand new characters that get brought into the fold, where you even get a little, you know, opportunity like you will in like Mass Effect games, where you go on loyalty missions for said characters and further explore their story. And then one of the biggest highlights of the game, you know, it is late in the game, yes, but like once you get there, it's just like the whole world completely changes whenever you get the unlock codes to be able to fly around the map. It just completely changes how the game feels and plays, to see everything the way that you are. Just everything about the game, like I said, it did, you know, better than what Zero Dawn was. Zero Dawn was fantastic. Just further getting a chance to explore this world and explore this story of what happened to the world before. Just everything about the game is just incredible, and I feel like it's an obvious recommendation for anyone. You know, at least especially if you played the first one. It's one of the, you know, Zero Dawn, and you know, is one of the better titles to come out over the last like 10 years. And Forbidden West, in my opinion, is up there as well. Coming in at number 3.
So the most unanticipated game of the year, which became one of our favorite games of the year.
Correct. And it's a mobile game.
Also free.
Coming in at number 3, we have Marvel Snap. I'll let Zach take this one because he's been playing this thing since God knows when.
Yeah, I started playing like in May or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like May or June. I mean, it's Marvel Snap. If you haven't heard us talk about it yet, I mean,
we've talked about it a lot.
It's a card game. You make a deck of 12 cards. You fight over 3 bases. If you win 2 of the bases, you win. And it's all Marvel themed. So if you like Marvel, check it out.
You don't even have to like Marvel.
No, not really.
True.
I mean,
True.
if you like card games, it's very good because
You like Smash Up? It's gonna be up
fairly
your alley.
it's fairly well balanced. All the skills are nice touch because pretty much all of them reference the original characters' abilities and whatnot, or some sort of quirk personality of theirs from the comics and everything like that. All the variants and arts are very nice, even if they are overpriced as fuck. But I mean,
Not wrong.
yeah, but the game is very good, and just of leaning away from pay to win. They've made it a little easier to do pay to win now with the token shop, even though it's bullshit. But just how the progression system works in it with evolving cards to get collection level to unlock more things. Actually getting a fair amount of like real world money currency just from playing, which you can actually do stuff with. Just all the different features they had to help you increase collection level quicker if you want to. Like every 4 hours, it gives you cards that you can just, if you have the credits for, can just immediately upgrade, even if you don't have the boosters for it. Just promoting stuff. They'd still need to get better with events.
Yeah. Also, Steve threw in their complete BS, that token shop.
Yeah. Token shop sucks.
Yeah.
I only have one pull 3 card left in Black Bolt and spend nothing but him for the past 4 days. I don't want to spend 1,000 tokens on him.
I've had a card pinned for like 2 weeks and I'm only halfway to it. Yeah, the collection for tokens is they stressed up front it was going to be a slow move. Don't expect a lot of tokens very quickly, but man, does it. I feel that I do feel that it takes some time to get those tokens, because I can't imagine just if you end up pinning something that's like
6,000.
exactly, like token shop's bullshit. A good concept, just I'm not a fan of how they've handled it. But
we need to get more than 100 tokens per find.
Yeah, I agree. But even though we are bitching about that, the main thing is, like, when it comes to this game, is that it's just addictive to play. The matches are super quick. There are so many different types of combinations you can do for your decks. Whether if you want to try something with, obviously it goes a lot further than just what I'm going to name. But, if you want to go focus more on like an ongoing on-reveal discard, destroy, that's just general, card types. But then you can just kind of expand it from there, if, depending on the sort of effects that you want to do, where you have, like Mr. Negative that swaps the power and the cost. You have stuff like Sarah played on, turn 5 or perhaps sooner if you can, where, it lowers your cost by 1. And then there's so many sort of combinations that you can do.
I mean, with the next batch of cards, it's going to be interesting because it's getting some new cards for movement decks and top decking.
Ooh.
Because like that's one card that got data leaked was Bullseye, which he's a 1/2, and if you play him, he guarantees you're going to pull a 2-cost card on your next draw.
Ooh, that's actually kind of spicy.
Yeah, and also a lot of power control cards are coming out with the next set as well.
Yeah. I mean, the reception from this game has been unbelievable to follow. I mean,
it was officially released for 2 months and won best mobile game of the year.
Yeah, and just following everyone that's playing this game right now, all over, everyone that I follow on Twitter that's playing the game. There's so many people that's calling it like one of the best sort of like mobile card games to come out in so many years.
Oh yeah, easily.
And the man himself that is the lead guy that's running this game. He was a former lead director at Hearthstone, and you can definitely see where his experience with Hearthstone plays into effect here to make Marvel Snap the best it can be. And one of the things that I already kind of slightly touched on, but I would love for Zach to elaborate on it, just because of how long he's played it and he's seen it firsthand in early access. Is one thing that's awesome about the game is the fact that like the devs actually listen to the community.
Oh yeah,
like you saw that firsthand throughout early access.
Yeah, because like very early on in like the 3rd season, it was the Love and Thunder season. They introduced a gacha style system where you would spend the gold to draw items out of it, which there was 2 new cards, which was Jane Foster and Destroyer at the time. Then you could also get variants of the Guardians of the Galaxies, avatar frames, or you could just end up getting credits and stuff. And like for a single pull, it was like $4. And if you wanted to do like a 10 pull, it was like $40. And it got so poorly received that developers after it was like, all right, we fucked up.
We're sorry.
So anyone who spent any type of gold on the gacha, here's your gold back. Also, everyone, here's a free copy of Jane Foster in your box. And they went, we'll try something else next time, which has led to the token shop, mind you.
Mm. Yeah.
And so, I mean, they do listen to the community and everything like that, of ideas and how feedback is being received and things like that, which is why we've seen the collector's cash change a couple times, allowing for acquiring a more currency as well as a variance through variants, avatar frames, titles,
Right.
Through just playing the game and things like that. The token shop, of course, the bigger pools. Also, Steve, good luck on finishing pool 3, because pool 3 is 77 cards. It takes forever to get through it. That's why you'll never see pool 4, pool 5 pulls until you get through 3 because it's pull 3 is the biggest pull right now.
Right.
So yeah, but overall, it's very enjoyable, free game. Definitely a whole lot of community and feedback with the developers and things like that. Hopefully, they get better at doing events because half the time, no one has any clue on events going on.
Yeah, it just kind of comes out, and there's so many more. They've already laid out, their current roadmap. They've already laid out some things they want to accomplish in 2023, and there's so much more to come with the game itself. And it's just the bottom line is, John already kind of hit the head on it. You don't even have to be a fan of Marvel to like this. If you just like card games and you need a time killer on your phone, download Marvel Snap. I promise you're probably gonna get addicted. I mean, it's just a fun time because the games are so quick. Because it's just 6 turns. As long as you and the other player are kind of moving through your turn pretty quickly, it's like maybe 2 minutes tops.
Yeah.
like it goes by so quick. So I promise you'll probably get addicted. I mean, all the rewards this game has got in just the 2 months it's officially been out, I feel like is all completely deserved.
I mean, I know you didn't play as much, John, but how did you feel from the bit when you were actually playing it?
I mean, pretty much everything you guys have said. I was like, the one thing you said when you first talked about the game was you referenced it to Smash Up, which immediately got me interested.
Yeah.
I will say, I have, for the most part, dropped Marvel Snap. It's still on my phone. I just haven't logged into it in a while. But I played the absolute shit out of it. I was playing, I was playing it every opportunity I had a moment to. Like, I'd be at work on lunch and just play it instead of do anything else. I'd get home from work and I'd turn a video on as a podcast or something on my computer, and then I just sit and play on my phone, play Marvel Snap the whole time.
I feel that.
It's super simple.
It's like
It's addictive.
I was playing it nonstop. It's like I didn't drop the game because I don't like the game. I dropped the game because when I'm on my phone, I tend to. My phone games are idle games.
Yeah,
I got 15 idle games on my phone. It's like I just, when it comes to play on my phone, it's like if I probably need to download it on my computer because I'd be more likely to play it if it was on my computer.
Yeah, because it does have a PC release. The other thing I do like to note about it is it does a season pass like everyone else does, but I like theirs just because you don't have to be active in the season pass. As long as you complete all the week missions, you'll get everything on the season pass.
Yeah.
So you can wait till
it's not hard.
You can wait till the last week of the month and go, all right, now to just go run through these and you'll get everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really not hard to run through the season pass. If you want to choose to spend money on it a little bit ahead, you can, but you really don't need to. Because that's the main thing about the whole game is you really don't need to spend any money unless you just really, really want to for something.
Like you were, because you really wanted to get cards.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent money on the game. I don't regret it. But, I mean, you really don't need to. I mean, you can get stuff so quickly once you kind of get going. Just get some dubs, play this, play that, play this type of card, play that type of card. You can get through shit very quickly.
Yeah.
It's really not hard. Coming in at number 2, we have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So I understand that the game just has a lot of backlash from it due to the graphical performance, and all of that is completely warranted. I mean, I don't think anyone can disagree with that. But the game itself, what they have created, just the vision of what they've created, as John has talked about.
The death of Ash.
Rip.
Yeah, like you said, it had some definitely got performance issues, and people that complain about that, they're in their right to complain about that. But
100%.
But it's like there are also people out there that are using that as an excuse to complain about the game as a whole. Which to that I would say fuck off.
I would agree to that. Fuck off.
Because I mean, we've been wanting for 20 years to have an open world Pokemon game.
And we finally
have one, and my God, is it everything I want it to be.
We got a second one because we got one in the beginning of the year, which was free area.
Open
zone.
Yeah, similar to what Sonic Frontiers is, in my opinion.
And as far as the open world Pokemon games, it's like some people may not like the pacing of it because, if you kind of go off and do your own thing, by the time you go and head around to the gyms and all the stuff like that, it's going to be trivial.
Woo!
But what I say to that is, who gives a shit if I want to run around for 30 hours doing my own thing and then show up and wipe the floor with everybody? I should be able to do that, which is I mean, it's what Zach. It's
That's equivalently what I've done.
It's everything Zach's done. It's half of what I did. I didn't run around for 30 hours, but I ran in between doing gyms and stuff like that. I'd run around for 10, 15 hours and then be like, oh, I should probably go do that. And then spend 20 minutes instead of an hour going through and blasting through it.
The game really pushes for you to play your way for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part, they do have. There's no obviously level scaling. We talked about that before the game even came out. So like it does push a direction you in theory should go, but you still don't have to. If you want to go fuck off for a while and just like level up and do this and this and just explore the world, catch Pokemon, do whatever, you can before you choose to do whatever. Because my gym order was definitely not in order of the way they wanted you to play. Because like the 8th gym leader that they want you to face, that was my 5th or 4th. I mean, you can just do whatever you want, and it really pushes that narrative of just go play the game.
Yeah, my gym order was whichever one is closest to me at the time I decided to go do a gym.
My gym order is I got 1 badge, bunch of level 60s. I'm still exploring the land.
God, I hate him so much because he hasn't even upgraded his dragon, so he can't fully explore the land.
I mean, I'll explore whatever I need to, and then I can just friggin' fly back to wherever I couldn't get to once I upgrade.
Are you ever going to go upgrade?
I mean, once I explore in all of Paldea, yeah.
But you can't explore everything until you upgrade your dragon.
Well, once I reach a dead end, I'll go upgrade the dragon.
All right, that's all I need to know.
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, it's like I've enjoyed Pokemon games as they've come out. I haven't really had issues with the past few generations that have come out. I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed them more as the generations have gone on. But it's like this one. I mean, in the time it's come out, I've by far put more time into this one than I have for any new release of a game that's come out. I mean, hell, for the first time, it's like I told you, this is the first time I've ever completed the Pokedex.
Yep.
It's the only first time I've ever felt like I wanted to.
Out of curiosity, since we're on the topic, either of you gonna bother with the Cinderace raid?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do it tonight.
I saw it was out. I saw it was out. I haven't looked into it at all, but I guarantee you I could load up my Switch right now and
one-shot it.
And probably one-shot it.
Yeah.
I've already got the Azumarill.
Yeah, the Azumarill, we're good. It's a fighting Terra. So
oh god.
Yeah, just do we have the level 100 competitive Azumarils. So just a quick Oko with play rough and you're good.
Yeah, it's like I've already got one ready to go.
Yeah.
No issues. It's like it's the same one I was using to do the Charizard.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm probably gonna hit it up tonight to go catch it, whatever, because I know it only runs like this weekend.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it'll come back. Yeah. But I wanted to go ahead and grab it. Just go ahead and get it caught, whatever. But no, I mean, with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, like, not only does the game have like this expansive open world, and when I say open world, it's open world. Like it's not like Legends Arceus where you have the 5 or 6 zones that you go to, and those zones are very large and a lot to explore. No, I mean, it's open world. Your only loads in the game is going inside of a building, going inside the main city, and going to Area 0. That's it. Like once you're out into the world of Paldea, like the whole world is loaded up at that point. Which I have personally found out encountering a shiny in the wild and it flying away and despawning. And just out of curiosity, I did a reload and I had not saved in a while. And like, here it is on the map of where I found it. Last time I saved, I was all the way over here. Like I'm very far apart, right? And I went back to where I found it. It's still there. It's like when the world loads, it is an open world game for Pokemon. It's not open zone. So, but not only does it have that aspect of it that everyone's wanted and this freedom to do whatever you want, it's actually got compelling storylines too. Like all the storylines that you can play, all of them are very good.
I wouldn't know.
I know you would.
Also, it's like just in general, I would probably say one of the better generations for the new Pokemon they've introduced.
I agree. Because
it's like, yeah, some of them may not be the strongest ones ever. It's like they got some that are goofy designs as well. But man, I've used more Gen 9 Mons while playing Violet that I've ever used for like a new generation. Sometimes I'll pick up some here or there, but I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to what I know. No, it's like almost it might have been my entire team was all new Mons.
Right.
For like the entire time I played it.
Overall, like, the way that I put it before is that I thought the game was perfect for like diehards of the franchise And, for casuals, I could definitely see where people could get turned off. People that don't play Pokemon games that much, I definitely see where it could turn them. But I also see where it could also hook them in because of the open world aspect of it. There's still problems with the game, in my opinion. The raids, in my opinion, at this point are atrocious. I cannot stand the raids for various reasons. But I do think there's
I don't think you hate the raids just because of the raids. I think you hate the raids because of other people.
No, it's both. Trust
Okay.
me. No, it's both. After some shit that I've dealt with some raids here recently, it's both.
Okay.
The raids are stupid.
Raids are fine.
The raids are stupid. I hate them. Absolutely despise them. But I still think everything is a step in the right
You're not
direction.
using the right mods.
No, I am. No, like the problem is like, when we originally talked about the game, one thing that we really liked is that like it, we can basically almost like one shot things and basically be done. Bro, like I don't know if I'm assuming it's just like the servers and stuff of me trying to do online raids that people have posted or ones that I even post to other people. Like 4 different times in a single raid, I will watch the health bar go to 0, but then come back and it's still alive. And we'll end up losing one way or another because of that. Like 4 different times in a single raid, I will watch this happen.
It depends. That's not necessarily lag. That's going to depend on the mods they're using, because not in the game itself, but in raids, certain abilities and moves are bugged.
Okay.
So if you see like that big health bar you see at the top, that's not the actual health bar. When you click your attacking move and you see their health bar in the side, that's their actual health bar.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind next
Yeah,
time I play some raids.
Because it's like that was a problem with the Azumarill.
Right.
Huge power was bugged.
Yeah, it
where
was.
Huge power wasn't being like the doubled attack wasn't being calculated.
Right.
So you would one shot it, and then its health would come back up to about half or a little below. But anytime you think that the health might be bugged when you go to use your attack, and you see the health bar that's on them there, if it's different, it means it's all fucked up.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll keep an eye on that when I play later.
That's when you're gonna have like that's when you're gonna see like their shield double breaking. That's when you're gonna see like none of the moves doing any damage and shit like that.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind when I play some raids later. Bottom line though, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are very fun games, even with the bugs, even with performance issues. Very, very fun games, and if you are a Pokemon fan, cannot recommend checking them out enough. Before we get to number 1, which I'm sure everyone can probably guess at this point, let's go through some honorable mentions. Let me go ahead and shout one out because it's not on this list, but I thought of it midway through this episode. Now I do want to shout out one honorable mention I want to throw out is the Quarry. I really enjoyed that, playing the game with you guys and just watching it happen, watching it happen.
We did movie mode.
Yeah, we did the director's chair. I liked that. I
mean, it was entertaining.
I thought that was so cool, the way that you can go about it and just the more possibilities you can do where you make everyone just neutral, so it's a constant flip of the coin. I thought that was a very interesting game, and I really want to do another one, so shout out to the Quarry. Some other honorable mentions that we have on here is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. If it wasn't for the fact that this game
It's a grind.
If it didn't hit you at the fatigue level that it did, it honestly, it probably would have made the top 10, like legit, because the stories are phenomenal. With it being,
Did you ever start a second run through?
No, I have not had the energy to do it, man. The single one with Golden Wildfire really just killed me. I mean, it was a fun story, but dude, the grind was brutal. But if it wasn't as much of a grind, I feel like it may have made this top 10. Pokemon Legends Arceus, I feel like that is an honorable mention because it was honestly a really fun game from what it was, but ultimately what kept it out of the top 10 is not only just Scarlet and Violet being better, but like, man, once you finish Legends, you're done. You don't want to go back unless you just want a shiny hunt, which shiny hunting in that game is actually not bad. But like once you're done, you feel done. Like I don't want to go back to it.
Yeah, because that was very much a game where like I kept jumping on it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna. It's like, yeah, I've kind of beat everything, but I'm gonna jump on it and play it and enjoy it some more. And then like you'd load it up and you play for 5 minutes, go, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course, Sonic Frontiers, another one. I talked at length that I thought Sonic Frontiers, this is the perfect right step in the direction that Sonic needs to go, and I'm really excited for the future of the game and the franchise. And then another one that one of John's was, of course, Lost Ark. I put a lot of time into that game, but you dropped it.
The game Alex was most surprised I wasn't going to fight for.
Yeah, I was. I really was.
When in reality, it was never going to be fought for in my mind.
Okay. It just caught me off guard, honestly.
Honestly, that game is that game is incredibly fun. Like, the raids are fun. Leveling's not horrible. It's like the dungeons are fun. But I don't know what's changed like from when I played it last. I don't know everything that's changed. I haven't been keeping up with it for the most part. But the majority of the systems built around the game, as far as progressing up the vertical ladder and somewhat the horizontal ladder, were just tedious.
Right.
It was all just tedious. It's like while you're in it and you're playing it, you don't notice as much how tedious it is because it just becomes a rhythm. Like it would be like you log in, you play it because it's like I think I had 7 characters I was playing.
Yeah.
So I would log in, I would play 3 of those characters one day, and let the rest, I'd log in, I'd play my main character or like my main 2 characters. And then I would let the rest bonus build up on my other characters. And then when the rest bonus was full, I'd just rotate through the characters. I kind of had them on a cycle. So it's like one day I would do this set of characters. The next day I would do this set of characters and go through it. It just becomes a cycle. But by the time you finish running through all your dailies and stuff on your characters, you don't got time to do anything else.
Right.
At least for me, because I'm coming home from work, I'm getting dinner, taking care of some stuff around the house, and I log in, do my dailies and that. And I'm like, oh shit, now it's time to go to bed.
Right. Yeah. A couple more honorable mentions we had. A couple of Zach's. Nobody Saves the World and Harvestella.
My joke buy and then a dungeon crawler.
Yeah. Shout out to the joke buy. He just got it literally because me and John had Sonic Frontiers and God of War. He's like, I'll fuck about Harvestella. Whatever.
Yeah. It was like, oh, there's another game, Harvestella. I was like, sure, fuck it, why not?
Yeah, it's like, whatever, I'll buy it. And ends up actually liking it.
I mean, it's actually a very good game. Well done.
Have you continued playing it?
I've played a bit of it here and there.
What did you buy it on, by the way?
Switch.
Okay.
Was it on something else?
On PC.
I think it's just Switch and PC. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I'm probably going to pick it up.
Yeah, John's
and I actually bought a
interested.
physical copy too for Switch, so I got it.
No, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I want to play it.
I mean, it's fun. I've still been enjoying it.
All right, and then of course coming in at number 1.
I'm gonna check out now.
Yeah, it's a surprise to literally nobody. We have God of War Ragnarok, which has not only become probably John's favorite game of all time, it's become one of my favorite games of all time, which is really the bigger shocker of the two,
yeah.
since I'm not a God of War diehard.
See, the funny thing is, I fought like kind of tooth and nail with you to get you to play the God of War 2018.
Yeah, you did.
I kept telling you to play it. You had it.
I know.
You weren't playing it.
I had it for like 2 years.
I finally made you. I finally like got you to play it, and you weren't the biggest. You weren't super hot on it.
No, I mean, it was like a solid for me, like a 7 out of 10 game. I mean, 6.5 maybe, around there.
Yeah,
I thought it was okay.
Then in comes Ragnarok.
Yep.
This game is fucking awesome.
In every way.
It's like it takes the remodeled formula that 2018 gave us
Yep.
and just enhances it. Not like a crazy amount, like combat wise or anything. Combat feels slightly faster, slightly like you get a few more options. You don't get a ton more like abilities and stuff like that for all of like the weapons and stuff you're carrying over from the previous game. It's just a very slight like feeling of fluidity that they added to it with some of the new moves and things that you can do, especially with we can say at this point companion characters.
Yeah.
It's like the way that companion characters work in the game is different than 2018 just slightly. It's like you don't have, I mean, really you only have 2 different types of like arrows you use. It's mostly for exploration, but depending on which one you use, they do influence combat a little bit. But the story of the game is fucking phenomenal.
The story is absolutely captivating to me because it was one of those cases where I've already started my second playthrough and I'm going through it because like for my first playthrough, I'll be honest, I did do a decent handful, but in my opinion, I feel like I did so little side stuff because I was so hooked on the story. I needed to know what happened next. So like those few times where like Mimir or Trey is just like, hey, we got some free time. You want to go explore? I'm like, no. I didn't know what happens next.
Meanwhile, I'm the opposite. It's like I'm going through it.
I was addicted.
I'm going through it, and they're like, "Hey, we can head to the. It's like we can go ahead and head on to this area, but we got a little bit of free time if you want to explore." I'm like, "Going that way."
Yep.
And
Not me.
And I would just kind of explore, see what I could find, see if I could find anything interesting going on. Which I mean, I don't know if there's. I feel like there's less side quests in this game than there were in 2018.
Really?
No, I don't know if there's less or if I just didn't do as many, but the ones that I did felt more impactful than the ones from 2018.
Right.
They seem like they had a little more weight to them, which was interesting because a lot of the ones from 2018 had like carried a lot of weight with every quest that you did.
Right.
But yeah, the only thing, it's like one thing I will say is I think I mentioned it when I initially was telling you guys my review of the game, and you should know at this point now, not all of the realms are created equally.
No.
It's like there are definitely like 2 to 3 realms where they're like, this is the meat of your exploration.
Yep.
But yeah,
But the fact that you still get to go to all of them is cool.
yeah, you get to go everywhere. It's like, and the ones that are opened up where you can go around and explore everywhere, man, you really can just go do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
And some of the zones depending on when you go explore, what quests and stuff you interact with, it changes the whole landscape of the realm that you're in and opens up new areas to kind of go to and explore. But yeah, it's like the exploration, the combat are all big highlights of the game. But it's like every time it's going to get outshone by the story of this game.
Yep.
Because like Alex said, it is captivating, and it's one of the few times where he's played a game that I've told him to play, and every time he hits to a new point on it, he's sending me a text here or there about whatever point he's at.
Yeah, that's true. I was hitting him up pretty often, which is funny because then the same thing happened when Brady finally got the game recently. He was hitting me up the same way I was you. He would hit me up like, "Oh yeah, I just got to this, whatever." And I'd text him in the morning like, "All right, so where'd you get to last night?" He's like, "I just finished this." I'm like, "Oh man, wasn't that cool?" It's like, "Wow, wasn't that great?"
Like I'd just be like sitting at the house like watching TV or something, and I'd put my phone would go off. I'd look at it, and it'd be like, "Man, Heimdall's a dick."
Fuck Heimdall, man. That one, yeah. That felt good, let me tell you. But no, I mean, we can talk all day about God of War. I mean, it's God of War Ragnarok. All right? All the praise has been sung about the game that needs to be sung. I will say one thing that I would really love to do. I already hit Brady about it, and he said he'd be down if you would be as well. Is that here at some time I want to do a pre-recorded, like full-blown spoiler cast on God of War Ragnarok. Because like your review, my review before the Game Awards, was obviously dancing around spoilers. I would love to do just a full spoiler review at some point, just a pre-recorded thing. I'll just upload it whenever. So that's something to kind of think about because I mean, there's still so much to talk about in my opinion, so much to just gush over. But yeah, for the Gamestead top 10 games of the year, God of War Ragnarok taking home the crown for the first one, which is really no surprise, especially considering we didn't play Elden Ring. And even if we played Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok still may have taken home that crown because I don't know. Me personally, I'm much more drawn to heavy story than I am anything else, and it's like, to my understanding, Elden Ring has like incredible lore, but just a dumb way to experience it.
It's all lore.
Yeah.
It's all you got to go looking for it and find it.
Like, so, I mean, for me, Ragnarok probably would have still been better to me just because I am more drawn to story. And like I said, I mean, I'm not a God of War diehard. I've played maybe a collective of 2 hours on every God of War prior to 2018. I know the story. Thanks to John going into 2018. Right. He sent me a video. I watched the entire video, so I know the story. But Ragnarok, to me, has become like my 5th favorite game of all time. I love it.
I tell you what, though, he may not be a diehard God of War fan, but after these 2 games that he's played, they make another God of War game, this boy's going to be on the pre-order list.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting out for sure. Yeah, for sure. Then, the next God of War, I'm getting it. Let's go. Let's have it. So that is our top 10 games of 2022 presented by Gamesthetic. Overall, like I said, I like the list, man, because it's like, it's got some good, unique titles in there. It's got some indies. It's got, your AAAs that you would expect. You even got a mobile game. I feel like it's a pretty solid list. I like it. For our first one ever, I like it. I'm a big fan of it, honestly.
gonna be more unique than next year's.
Oh yeah.
Next year's this was an easy list. We didn't actually fight for anything. Usually,
This was the easiest list we've ever done.
Next year's is fucked.
That's gonna be so hard. Because, I mean, we're going to have, like, Zelda, Starfield, Star Wars, Resident Evil, Hogwarts Legacy, Fire Emblem.
Next year is either going to be a very controversial list or it's going to be the most basic-ass list you've ever seen.
Basically. Spider-Man 2. I mean, bro, next year's list is going to be hard to make.
All
it's going to be hard
he's naming, somehow none of them make it on the list.
It's going to be hard to rank it, is going to be the better way to put it.
I mean, it's not going to be hard. It's just going to be what... we resign. We're willing to let stuff sit at.
Basically, it's gonna be a time next year.
Tell you what, though, by the time the next list comes out, you know what's gonna be out? Dark and Darker.
That's true. Dark and Darker, which you can now fight to put on that list. So there you go.
Oh, I wonder if the new Dino Crisis is gonna be out by then.
You know what else is gonna be out? Pal World.
Oh yeah, Pal World will be out.
Pal World.
There's gonna be so many dumb games out.
I'm excited for Pal World. Christina finally found out about Pal World recently.
Oh, did she finally?
Yeah. Someone sent it to her, and she's like her exact reaction. I was watching her reaction live, where she's just like,
Did she know you knew what it was?
No, she didn't know. So she's going through. She's like, "Oh, this looks really cute. Wait, you can kill them? I don't like that. You can shoot them?
I don't remember how I found it, but I'm very happy I did.
Power World looks fun. I'm looking forward to Power World. There's so many games next year that I'm pumped for.
We're gonna have some, like, next year is gonna be a year of some fucking bangers and some potentially some very big disappointments.
I mean,
I know.
if Exo Primal actually releases this year, I'll mess with it.
Yeah. Which we're going to chat about all of that next week. Next week is all focused on what's coming out in 2023, our most anticipated, predictions, in terms of what you just said about disappointments. If we want to throw out predictions, like I think this game is going to be a disappointment, all of that is going to be next week. We did our predictions for 2022 at the beginning of last year, and I've been tracking it throughout the year. Shout out to you, Zach. You have no L's. Because you have nothing but question marks.
Yes.
Like, none of yours is like, I don't know if I can count that as a victory or an L. Because, like, you only had 3. One of them literally cannot be counted because it didn't come out, being Dokev. That hasn't come out yet. Then you had Rainbow Six Extraction dead within a year. I don't think it's been a year yet, has it?
No, because it came out, like, I think we're almost right at a year.
Right. And then The Devil in Me hits Until Dawn level, which that's the only one that I could consider as an L for you.
I think that is an L.
Yeah. John, you went 1 for 3. You're only one.
I knew I was hitting bad. If it's like I made some very bold claims considering we had release dates on stuff.
Yeah, like your only win was okay, I gave you the win because it did happen, but you specifically said Gen 9 announcement in Q4. Like, as in being announced in Q4. I went ahead and gave you that W since a Gen 9 announcement happened and it came out in Q4. Then your other L's was Xenoverse 3. I don't know if we'll ever get that. And then Digimon Survival will be delayed again. Look at I even specified. I even specified. Convinced the game isn't real.
No, I didn't. I did not say it would be delayed again.
Yes, you did.
No, my exact wording was because he said his first one, and then like you didn't even look over at me or anything. I said Digimon Survive is not coming out in 2022.
Oh look, Gamesthetic's live. Thanks, phone.
And then I had the most predictions. Obviously,
and you know what?
I had 16 that I threw out there.
You know what though? I've never been happier to be wrong about a game than Digimon Survive.
There you go.
I am so glad that game came out.
Yeah, and I only got 4 right out of my 16, and I have 4 that are still question. I pretty much only got 4 right. The 4 that I got right was Fire Emblem announcement, which was 3 Hopes, and really now even Engage.
Yeah,
that was announced this year. Breath of the Wild 2 delayed. Gen 9 announcement, and then the one that I got right. Definitely did not think who it was going to be, but I never specified who. Was Xbox Microsoft huge studio purchase will be announced. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be fucking Activision Blizzard, but I thought there was going to be another big purchase because I was following that rumor thread for a while that they were gearing after the Bethesda one, that they were gearing up for the next one, but I didn't know it was going to be that. But other than that, I got a bunch of L's after that, but it's okay. It's all right. But anyway, next week, like I said, be like some predictions that we have that we work up and just looking at all the games. I've already started working on a list in our Discord, so we're going to be good for next week on that. And just excited for 2023 and all the games to come out. Like I said, I think this is going to be a big year for this show just because of the amount of games that I know that we're all interested in. I mean, and what's super cool about it is that we all have a vast different set of interests. Like I know Zach has a list of games that he's super pumped for that's like only like in your realm that you're pumped for. Same goes for me and same goes for John. Like we all have just, and then we have games that we're all interested in. So it's gonna be a really cool year for gaming. I'm really pumped up and excited for it. So we're like like an hour and 30. Do we want to chat about anything else? Or do we want to save it for another time?
I mean, how much do you actually want to go through the wrap up?
I mean, the wrap up's I'm gonna blow through it anyway.
He was mostly just wondering like, do we actually want to talk like because he's been playing Ancestors, I've been playing New World.
I mean, that's on you two.
I mean, I'm fine chatting about it another week. I don't care.
Yeah, we can save it.
Okay, we'll save it.
We can save it if we want to.
All I'll say on Ancestors, very fun. Give it a shot. It gives you the true feeling of sink or swim. Don't be afraid to reset too. I've already had to. Don't be afraid to reset because you will fuck up. Because I definitely have fucked up pretty easily.
Yeah. Just briefly say on New World, game is good. Just if you weren't sure about coming back to it, if you left because you didn't feel like there was much going on with it, come back.
Didn't they merge servers too?
Yeah.
You keep everything. Or it's like you log in, and if they merged your server, when you log in, your character is there, and all you have to do is pick a server.
Cool.
So, Steve, if you're still listening, or if you listen after the fact, New World is something that you may want to look into.
It's fun. I've been having a blast with it as I've been playing it.
Hey, it's one of the few MMOs that I enjoyed, and I'm not a huge fan of MMOs, but it was
I was
one
about to say I burned myself on MMOs, but I at least put some time into it.
Yeah. All right, let's hit the weekly wrap up and get out of here. We don't have a lot in the weekly wrap up this week. So the first couple things are both involving Tears of the Kingdom, a couple leaks that's come out recently. With like when I say leaks, like I'm talking physical stuff to someone is holding.
I was very confused by those pictures you sent in Discord because I was like, oh, cool, it's an OLED. I had no clue it was the Legend of Zelda thing until I read your message. I was like, oh.
I didn't realize it either. I just assumed Alex bought another OLED.
That's what I thought too. That's exactly what I thought.
I opened it up, saw the first picture in your name, and I went, man, Rich Boy bought another OLED.
Fuck off. No. It was a Tears of the Kingdom OLED special edition that was leaked recently on Reddit. And like I said, it's a physical thing here. You can see someone actually holding it. And that alone, it seems pretty convincing. I mean, we know with this game there was probably going to be something come alongside of it, right? But this also further confirms that obviously there is no new hardware, it being the OLED special edition. But something to keep a look out there. It did look pretty cool. And then there was also another recent leak involving, it was like a little flyer that they were holding that was all, there's a Tears of the Kingdom like flyer, and like prominently in the middle of it was a Nintendo Switch Online featured thing, very prominently in the middle of this whole flyer, which just brought up a lot of questions that the game may have co-op, because that was actually a leak a while ago that the game had been tested for co-op. And I'm going to go ahead and say it up front. I have no doubt in my mind that they have at least tried to do co-op for the game. Just test it. See if we want to do it. See if we can do it. Is it going to be in the final game? My bet is no, but it won't necessarily shock me if it is. I think that that prominent focus of it being there is more so to utilize the cloud save, is my guess, because this is obviously going to be a pretty big game really pushing the Switch to its limits. Speaking of that, Digital Foundry did also claim that the Switch Pro was actually planned and scrapped when 2020 hit with all the issues with hardware. Next gen has just become the focus, which we've already kind of known that, and it's just been kind of the thing. And I will say with this, 2023, I must say it right now, it's going to be a very loud year in terms of Switch performance. We've already seen it. It's already prominent now, but that conversation's about to get a lot louder online of people talking about performance. So let me tell you, I'm so excited to see everyone bitch on Twitter about it every single game release. Speaking of game release, we just had one recently. Sports Story was recently released, by the creators who did Golf Story. Both nice little indie games a lot of people really enjoy. But one interesting thing that came up with Sports Story is there's a secret room that you can get into. and you can't get into it by normal means. You got to really go around the bush to get in this room. It's hard to get into. It was meant to stay a secret for the most part, where you go in there and it basically it's just a bunch of people in the room, which is imitating the devs of this game, and just the dialogue is just very sad because the dialogue is basically them talking about how the game was rushed, that they were put under crunch, that even one of the guys said that with more and more people getting involved, like my vision for the game was ultimately lost, and basically just talking about how like these devs who made this great game with Golf Story and trying to follow it up with Sports Story just ultimately got shafted because of people above them. So it's just go read into it. All right, if you're listening to this right, go read into it. It's a very interesting little story. One little tidbit that came out that I thought was kind of neat was Rise of the Ronin development has reached its climax. The director said so. So that's actually pretty cool because it kind of tells us that the game may come out sooner than anticipated. I don't think it'll be a 2023 title. I think 2024 is more likely. But with just kind of hearing that it's reached its climax, maybe early 2024. So that'd be really cool. That was a game that was revealed recently at the PS5 showcase that personally caught my interest. I think it caught yours as well, John. I don't remember for sure though. But Rise of the Ronin is one to keep a lookout for. It caught one of you guys' interest with me, but I don't remember which one.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember what it is, but it very likely could have caught my interest.
Okay. Then next up, Konami vet and Metal Gear Solid producer recently said that 2023 will be a year of many announcements, including something long awaited, which is probably just like
Gex 3.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe the collection getting ported up to current consoles, or maybe the Snake Eater remake that we've heard so much about.
Getting a new Metal Gear.
Yeah, just a new Metal Gear. I don't know.
I doubt that too.
Yeah, me too. But either way, I wanted to throw it out there, kind of put it in people's brains here. And lastly, apparently Redfall has been internally delayed again.
Oof.
Apparently it was projected for March originally. Now they're thinking May. Which if that's the case, that actually brings a big question on when Starfield coming out. Because I thought Starfield was going to maybe hit like May. But now Starfield it would be very interesting to me if Starfield got hit with a full year delay and it just comes out next November again. But it's not on their own. I mean, I'm okay with it. Let's make the game, like I said before, this game literally needs to be a success, like a smashing success, or it's a failure, like up front. If it's not an overwhelming success, they're going to view this game as a failure, in my opinion, with the amount of hype that's generated around it, the amount of hype they're generating. They're the ones pushing this hype. It's like, oh, it's our first game with our brand new engine that we wanted to make this game for like 10 plus years. Like there's so much build around it by them that if this game isn't a smashing success, they're probably viewing it as a failure.
We just need a new Fallout New Vegas.
That's true. Hey, Obsidian, Obsidian and Bethesda under the same umbrella. That is possible. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That this could happen. But that's it for the weekly wrap up this week. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up the show now. Boys, any last thoughts? Anything that we chat about here today?
No.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna hit the music.
I guess there is one thing I wanted to just throw out. I know you hate it, John, but you don't want to do a playthrough of Wulong when it comes out?
Oh, God damn it. It's going to be on Game Pass.
Probably. I'm pretty sure you can pre-install it.
If it's on Game Pass, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be pissed off the whole time.
I know you are.
I'm going to be fucking useless. But I'll do it.
Yes.
Also, I don't know if I shout this out on a podcast or if it was just to you personally, but shout out to the one random guy that commented on a post that had something involving Black Myth Wukong, and his comment was just completely trashing the game
because he played the Wulong demo.
Yeah, and he mixed up the games. He's like, yeah, everyone's got so hyped about this game for like Game of the Year, but the demo came out recently. I thought the demo was complete and fucking garbage and blah blah blah. And everyone's replying like, bro, you're talking about Wulong. That's not Black Myth. Like, what are you on about?
That guy was high as fuck.
Dude, he was. I'm pumped for Black Myth. We'll talk about that next week. All right, hit the music. Last thoughts.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever your platform allows. It does help. If you're watching this live and you're not subscribed to us, I don't know how you got here, but if you can hit subscribe, it'd be nice. And you can also hit up the Gamesthetic YouTube and subscribe there so something happens for that channel. Thank you. Bye.
All right, do everything he said and more. If you made it to the end, thank you very much. And if you're watching this at a later date, well, come check us out on Saturdays at about 6 p.m. Central Time. That's usually when we're live. And hopefully you'll come back and see us at some point.
And then, of course, make sure to check out our year-end video coming out tomorrow on Sunday, January 1st, where we go over just kind of a recap of everything that was in 2022, as well as look ahead for what is going to come in 2023. Because there's a lot to get excited for, not only with this show, but the other shows. And there's so much to talk about, honestly. Thank you so much for all the support throughout 2022. None of this would be possible without you. With that said, until next time, guys, have a good one. See you.